Hello, everybody. It's Brian here with some recent finds, recent purchases. I'm going to call this November Part 2, even though if you've checked your calendar, you will know that it's December, but everything I'm going to show here was purchased in November. And of course, I've been doing 2 of these recent finds things per month. We'll see if that continues. I'm also going to reference Record Store Day a couple of times. And, the other thing I should say is that not only am I buying records, I have been getting rid of stuff. So I did some purge videos a while ago, and I managed to sell some of those records and some CD box sets that I knew I would never listen to. And I've raked in something like $300, which is going to a hi-fi improvement fund at some point. So we'll see how that goes. So let's start with the record that... honestly, I was never sure I'd ever buy. I had my eye on it if I ever saw it cheaply enough, but it never was cheap. It was always more than I was willing to pay. And I say that because I'm not even sure I like the record. But let's talk about this one. And you might not even be able to tell from this cover because the cover is different. But this is Lou Reed's Metal Machine Music from 1975, his 5th record. And as you can tell, the cover has been changed. So I've seen copies of this record over the years in record stores, and they're always like $60, $70 or more dollars. And I was unwilling to pay that for this record because it's a challenging listen. Now, you may remember I did a ranking of Lou Reed solo records, and I didn't include this one for 2 reasons. One is I didn't own it, but secondly, I said something like, if I had a copy of this and I included it, it'd probably be last anyway. Which I think is a fair statement. Having listened to it, I would agree with that. So, not to say that I hate it, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, first of all, as I mentioned, the cover is different. I don't know why they did this. This is a 50th anniversary Record Store Day from April issue that came out. And the cover is different. It has this embossed, it's like the original photograph, but it's embossed on the front and back, which is kind of cool in a way, and it's this silver color, but the original album cover is really iconic, and I'm sort of mystified as to why they changed it. They kept this sticker, of course, that was on the original. There is the hype sticker for Record Store Day, including this famous quote from Lester Bangs, who said, "The greatest record ever made in the history of the human eardrum." You know, he might have been, I'm not even sure the context of that quote. I can't imagine that that's really to be taken seriously, but it's something to think about. I mean, this record was pretty much panned when it came out as being unlistenable. It has no discernible song structures or melody or rhythm. It's just noise, and I do appreciate some noise from time to time. And that's not to say it wasn't influential. After all, Sonic Youth may have taken some inspiration from this record, among other people. But there's a famous quote from Neil, my musicians mix up from Lou Reed, who said, if you make it to side 4, you're dumber than I am, or something like that. And there's a whole question about whether this was a kind of statement to his record company. I don't really know. But let's look at the price here. So this is $25, and you can see there used to be a price sticker under that. So on the day I bought this, I actually saw 2 copies of it. I had passed over a copy of that was $68, and then in a different store, as you can see, $25, and it was sealed but in the used bin. So I thought, okay, I'm a Lou Reed completist. I'm at the point where maybe completionism meets madness or insanity. I knew in advance this is not a record I listen to very frequently, but I guess I felt I needed to have it in my collection, so I decided to buy it. $25 for this record I think is actually pretty good. For this limited edition, 2,500 copies, 50th anniversary edition. So, I don't know. This record has made many, many worst album lists over the years. I think there was a book that it came number 2 in. It's often quoted as being one of the worst records ever made, but again, influential. So, I took the records out of here, but I haven't opened the gatefold. So let me show you what's in here first. So, the old 8-track. And then, interestingly, there is this text written by Thurston Moore, which is kind of appropriate. And then, so I sat down and I listened to all 4 sides of this. So I'm now officially dumber than Lou Reed. Let me see if I can show you these the right way up. So this just tells you, it looks like an original, I guess, label on a tape box, I guess. So catalog number, speed, that kind of thing. It's neither been approved nor rejected. So as you can see on colored vinyl, and I have to say the colored vinyl looks pretty nice. There's no download code with this. I don't imagine you want to take it in your car with you. So the other record is going to look exactly the same. So no difference there. And on this sleeve we have a picture of Lou looking at the album in question with the original cover. The tracks, which are Metal Machine Music Parts 1 through 4. He thanks Bob Ludwig. Produced by Lou Reed. Released in June 1975. Etc. So, that's the other label there. So that's pretty cool. So let me take this shrink wrap off. And I like to leave shrink wrap off, but in case of a gatefold, I'm going to take it off. Because I want to see what's actually in here. And there it is, some ghostly images of Lou Reed with a notation here. I guess it's written by Lou about what he started with the Velvet Underground, etc. So I will have to read that at some point. So, it kind of completes it almost completes my Lou Reed vinyl collection. I still don't have a vinyl copy of Lulu, and I passed one over in a store, as I mentioned in my other video some time ago, but I'm not sure I want that one on vinyl, but I guess if I saw it for a good price, I might grab it. So that is the first record, a late record store day edition. In the same store, I found a copy of an album of a band I've been searching for a while, and these are things I could get on Amazon probably, but I kind of like to buy things in person. So this was, and again, a record that was sealed but in the used bin for a good price. It's from Australian post-punk band These Immortal Souls. And the weird thing is that this is their album Extra, which includes a couple of unreleased live and studio appearances, or studio material. And weirdly, though, it's not one of their official, well, it's official, but it's not one of their 2 proper studio records, which I don't have and haven't heard. So it's a weird place to start, maybe. But I'm intrigued by it because it features Roland S. Howard, who I have one of his records and I really love it. And of course, I didn't know about this band until I watched Ben Rankin's channel. So that's where I learned about them. So the sticker says, Extra, an album of rare and unreleased live and studio material mastered from original source tapes. So that's Roland S. Howard, Genevieve McGuckin, Harry Howard, which is Roland's brother, and Epic Soundtracks. So there's the people, there's the photography, and interestingly, there are some cover versions on here, like Looney Tune, which is the Alice Cooper track, Open Up and Bleed from the Stooges. We have Some Velvet Morning, Lee Hazelwood, so Lee and Nancy track. Hey Little Child from Alex Chilton. So anyway, I've listened to this. I think it's really good. Of course, I do think Roland S. Howard is was a great musician, so I'm enjoying this. There's the band there. And this has all of the pertinent credits. And this something written by Harry Howard in 2024. So obviously this came out in 2024, along with the repressings of the first, or the only 2 records from this band. So, strange place to start, perhaps, since I don't have the other 2, but I quite enjoyed this. I'm not sure, like, the cover versions are really good, I think. The Lee Hazelwood one, Lee and Nancy, I don't know if it really, well, it's interesting. I think the original is probably more interesting, but anyway, side A is remastered, side B is live. I didn't say that, so there you go. Okay, so let's talk about Record Store Day, Black Friday. Yes, I did go. Part of the reason I went is that I live fairly close to a participating record store. So had I been farther away or it wasn't convenient, I probably wouldn't have gone because I wasn't really entirely thrilled with the list. Now, in the April Record Store Day, I went to the same store and I was there maybe an hour before it opened and there was already a giant line and I had to wait at least an hour to get in and the store was packed with people. This time I went maybe 45 minutes after opening and there was no lineup and there was only one person in the store, which kind of confirmed for me that the list maybe wasn't that good. There was one thing I was curious about, and that was the Sugar Copper Blue 12-inch singles box, but I have 3 of those 4 12-inch singles already, so I didn't really want to double up on it. I checked the price, and it was probably more than I would have paid. Well, it was more than I wanted to pay for something that I had most of anyway. So I did look at some of the releases, and I didn't buy any Record Store Day items. However, this store did have a sale happening, and so I did grab a couple of things that were on sale for about approximately 50% off or so. And the first thing is from a Canadian singer called Owen Pallett. This record is called He Poos Clouds. Yes, believe it or not. Came out in 2006. This is the 2023 repressing. So Owen Pallett is a Canadian singer, songwriter, I guess classically trained musician. He's a keyboardist, plays violin, a number of other instruments. He's been a part of the Arcade Fire touring band. He's actually done some string arrangements for some of their compositions. Very interesting fellow. Now, originally, he was known as Final Fantasy. That's how he released his record. So this particular album on CD is credited to, you might not see it, but it's credited to Final Fantasy. And when it was re-released on vinyl, it was switched over to his name, similarly to a record I talked about before. This is Owen Pallett's Has a Good Home. This is Final Fantasy Has a Good Home. And the record is here, Owen Pallett Has a Good Home. I mentioned this in a previous recent finds video. So he's changed over from Final Fantasy to his real name, Owen Pallett, which is, I wrote it down because I never remembered, Michael James Owen Pallett Plowright. Right? So interestingly, so I guess the original releases were kind of like a pseudonym. He called himself Final Fantasy. So this is his second full-length record called He Poos Clouds, which is really strange, but it's really related to the 8 schools of magic in Dungeons and Dragons. And honestly, I read that. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. I never want to play it. So the songs that are listed here have something in brackets after them. If you look online, so the first song, The Arctic Circle, Abjuration, The He Poos Clouds, Illusion. It goes through conjugation, necromancy, enchantment, evocation, divination, transmutation. That's all Greek to me. There's the back of it. So this pressing is really great, if you ask me. I mean, just from a tactile point of view, this cover is really, really nice. Gatefold with the lyrics inside, as I just quickly showed you. Really fantastic. 10 songs here. So this is a 2023 repressing. Should take it out to show you. There was a download card, but I already have the compact disc. Again, I'm doubling up on things. Buying the compact disc and then the album. Here is the label. So yeah, I mean, this is the kind of music you have to really be in the correct mood for, because it's, if you don't like violin, you're probably not going to like it very much. And it's in many ways really peaceful, kind of, I don't know how to describe it, pop in a way, but kind of avant-garde in a way. Interesting album design, by the way. So yeah, I had the CD, but I thought for like approximately 50% off, that was something I wanted to get. The hype sticker just says remastered, download included, and the catalog number. So that's hard to see that. And then right behind it, I picked up this compilation of 2 EPs. So this is Owen Pallett. Again, this was originally released as Final Fantasy. And so the Spectrum 14th Century EP was released under the name Final Fantasy, and the Plays to Please EP was under Final Fantasy as well. Those were both 10-inch records that came out in 2008, I think. And they put them both on this record and reissued them in 2023, broken them down by 5 songs and 6 songs. And that's the inside of that. It's pretty cool. Again, that's a beautiful, beautiful record to be sure. So, what can I say about this? I like this better than maybe He Poos Clouds for some reason. So the first 5 songs were recorded with Beirut, which is an interesting kind of indie band. And 6 songs were all written by Alex Lukashevsky. He has a band called Deep Dark United. He's a Toronto singer-songwriter who I happen to know, not very well, but if I see him, I'll say hello. So I do know him. And those 6 songs were written by him, written by Alex Lukashevsky. No polyline sleeve on this one. And there we go. Pretty cool, right? So that was 2 fun finds. And then I had these in my hand and I went back and looked at the Record Store Day wall again and decided that there was nothing that I really wanted to purchase. And so kind of a failed Record Store Day Black Friday from the Record Store Day point of view, a Record Store Day releases point of view, but not bad otherwise. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.